What happens if you lose, Nick?
Who the hell is Aquaman?
I get Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, I get sausage biscuits. Maybe you guys will see a little footage of that later on because we got some good stuff.
Fill up the deuces. There you go, baby.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cage Talk with Christopher James. I am Christopher James, and it's showtime. So, before I jump in, I just want to remind everybody that we should all be good to each other. And, there's some stuff going on right now that I didn't find appropriate in the fight game. So, I felt I needed to discuss it and bring some things to light. So, we all know that fighters are signed on the regional level. I'm just going to jump right in here, guys. So, fighters get signed on the regional level, and they, some of them sign contracts, some of them do one-offs, but we do know that there have been promoters out there in the past that have, for lack of a better term, cock-blocked the fighter from making the next jump to a bigger promotion because the guy is a local ticket seller and he makes them a lot of money. So, and it's a shitty way to be. A recent case of a promoter doing it the right way recently was Myra Malotki of the XFC. Chris Barnett got a call from the UFC, and Myron released him, let him go to live his dream. He didn't want to let him go, but he knew it was the right thing to do because it's just the right thing to do. Why stand in the way of somebody achieving their dreams for a couple of bucks? It's really a shitty way to be. There used to be a lot more of it. It seems that the MMA community has somewhat righted itself, if you will. And, that practice seems to be slowly disappearing, where a promoter is going to stop an aspiring athlete from making their jump to the UFC or to Bellator or to PFL or to ONE, wherever it may be. And that's the way it should be. You have to allow these guys to live their dream. It's not your right to stop them. Now, like I said, Myron Malotki did the right thing. He let Chris Barnett go to become part of the UFC, and that was awesome. So, which brings me to this case. Jacob Kilburn, an Island Fights veteran, a UFC veteran, and a guy I respect. He's true to his faith, he's true to his family, he's true to the game. He was booked to fight for B2 in Kentucky. An opportunity arose for him to fight for a world championship with Titan Fighting on UFC Fight Pass, a bigger promotion, a bigger paycheck, more recognition. So Jacob did what he was supposed to do. He contacted the promotion. He told them about the opportunity, and he found a replacement to step in for him at the B2 fights. He paid a $500 no-show fee, I guess that's what you would call it, to the promoter, I guess. I'm guessing the commission shouldn't profit off this. If they took the $500 and fuck them even more. However, so Jacob was supposed to fight, so he had a title fight booked. And it was going to be awesome. But apparently, the promoter from B2, Brandon Higdon, and the commissioner of MMA, not the commissioner of the boxing commission, that's Matt Bird, the man who oversees MMA specifically, a guy named Sean, hold on, I'll tell you his name here, so I have it written down. Sean Sullivan, who apparently, and this is all, from what I'm hearing from other people besides Jacob, apparently, these guys have a good relationship, and they're friends, commissioner and a promoter. Now, you can be friends with somebody. I'm friends with people from the Florida Boxing Commission. Of course, I'm not in a position to do stuff. I'm just a ring announcer. However, I'm friends with these guys. We work around a lot of shows together. We're friends, but business is business, and you can't let the business of the fight game interfere, or the relationship and friendship interfere with the business of the fight game. As soon as you're doing that, you're in cahoots with the promoter, or vice versa. The promoter's in cahoots with the commission's in cahoots with the promoter. Either way, it's a bad look, and it's a conflict of interest. So back to this Jacob story. So Jacob was supposed to fight. His fight, he put up a message yesterday that his fight got pulled, and he said he would explain later. So I reached out to him to ask him what was going on. Now, I'm going to read you what he told me, and just so you know, it is, I have it right here where I'm going to be reading, but it's going to be easier for me to read it without you guys seeing the thing, because it's just easier for me to look over here. So I asked him what happened. He said the Kentucky Athletic Commission gave him a 60-day disciplinary suspension for breaching contract. The state rules don't state that pulling out to take another fight is against the rules. He had 2 attorneys go over every word of his contract and the Athletic Commission rules. The Kentucky commissioner, I'm guessing Mr. Sullivan, even admitted there was no statute that he was guilty of violating, but the suspension would stand because he caused the promotion, Jacob caused the promotion to lose their main event. Now, the commissioner also went on to state he understands why Jacob made the change. He had a bigger fight for better money, and it didn't require any travel. The commissioner even said he understood, but still wasn't lifting the suspension, and that was it. Now, because Kentucky and Florida are both ABC states, it holds up in Florida. Jacob, as of that message, wasn't going to be cleared to fight until the last week of September, which is completely bullshit. So before I get into the letter that he sent them, I just want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, if there's no statute and there's no rule violation, how do you suspend a guy? You suspend the guy because you're friends with the promoter. That's what happened. Plain and simple. It's right out there to see. Everybody can watch and everybody can look and see it. So, and mind you, I haven't spoken to Brandon from B2 Fights, and I haven't spoken to anybody from the commission, but those conversations are going to happen. But this is because I'm pissed, because I can read between the lines. I'm not stupid. None of you guys out there are stupid. This is what happened, So when I spoke with Jacob, through Messenger, we were chatting back and forth, and he was upset. He just has a car totaled, and besides this title fight, if he won this title fight, there was another opportunity waiting for him with even a bigger promotion. All he had to do was go out there and win this fight at Titan. Simple. It's not simple. You got to go in there and fight. But had he had the opportunity to even fight and get the win, he would have been offered a contract from another big promotion. I'm not going to say their name right now, but I might bring that up a little bit later on. So I asked Jacob what he was going to do about it, and immediately, my lack of a better term, my mother hen kicked in to some degree. I was fucking furious. And I wanted to know what the fuck was going on. So I was going to put out an article last night, but then Jacob asked me to wait because today there was a hearing with the commission headed up by Matt Bird. Now, all this happened on Matt Bird's watch, so as far as I'm concerned, Matt Bird is ultimately responsible for overseeing what Sullivan does and how he regulates the rules and regulations of the Kentucky State Athletic Commission. Mind you, let me reiterate, there was no rule broken by Jacob. The promoter was pissed, but Jacob found a replacement, gave them plenty of notice, had a replacement ready, and everything was good. So this is the letter Jacob wrote to, I'm guessing, to the commission. I'm going to read it to you verbatim. So there's no misconception of what he said. I have it right here. So this is from Jacob himself. I have sat with a group of managers and attorneys for 2 days and gone over every set of rules that exist not only in Kentucky, but the ABC as well, but especially in Kentucky. In the commission's documents, there isn't anything, not one single iota, that states anything about a fighter being penalized or suspended for pulling out of a scheduled bout. The contract I signed with B2 in the section strictly between fighter and promoter states that failure to show up to schedule bout, the fighter is only responsible for a $500 no-show fee to the promoter, which, is bullshit, but whatever. I've never heard of that before. A fighter having to pay for not showing up, but so I guess that's a Kentucky thing. There is nothing in the commission rule about a breach of contract at all, let alone no showing or pulling out of an event. So mind you, the rule about paying a $500 no-show fee is a stipulation implemented by the promoter, not binding by the commission. That's important to know. Jacob went on to say, he goes, I didn't gamble. I didn't plead guilty to a crime. I didn't break any laws. I didn't participate in any unlicensed events. I didn't enter any other contracts. I didn't declare bankruptcy. I didn't commit an act detrimental to the state. I did not violate the rules of any other jurisdiction as well. Not one line of your rules am I guilty of. And not one line in the contract or commission rules mentions suspension or like penalty for breaching contract and pulling from the bout and not competing. I paid the fee, found a replacement opponent, gave 2 weeks notice and a 9-day confirmation, and was transparent the whole time. I know the commission knows, the promotion of B2 knows, my legal team knows, and several other important MMA community members know that the suspension issued is unwarranted, unlawful, undue, unethical, and unreasonable. I'm respectfully asking you to recognize the error and lift the suspension so I can fight in Florida and feed my family. That's the letter he wrote to the commission. He sent that off to them. So they decided they were going to have a hearing and get a consensus of the commissioners and decide whether they were going to lift Jacob's suspension. Meanwhile, while all this was going on, Titan FC had to move on and booked another opponent. They announced it yesterday, and now somebody else is in Jacob's spot fighting for a title. But there's more to it than that title fight, because again, had Jacob fought and won, he was going to get offered a contract at another big promotion, bigger than Titan, and we're just going to leave the name out for right now. Today, Jacob, I messaged Jacob because I was going to do this last night. Jacob asked me to hold on, and he wanted to see what the outcome of the review was. So here's what he said. It's right here. I'm going to read it to you right now. The board has reviewed my case and lifted my suspension and admitted to their fault. But Titan did have to move on. They flew Ali Al-Quasi to America. He needed a fight. So yesterday morning, they signed contracts with new opponent and announced on social media. My fight is still off. It's almost as if Kentucky waited for me to be off the card to lift the suspension. There's so many things to unpack here. So once Titan booked a new fight and Jacob was completely out of the picture, now Kentucky lifts the suspension and admitted that they were wrong. Okay, the suspension was requested by the promoter, Brandon Higdon of B2, even though he stole $500 from Jacob at this point, saying, oh, you got to pay me because you didn't show up. Well, why does he have to pay you for not showing up if he found a replacement opponent in plenty of time? So you didn't lose a fight. You just wanted an extra $500. It's a shitty fucking stipulation to put in your contract. It's wrong. You're paying these guys $1,000 and then you're going to fine them $500. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. But again, my understanding from people I spoke to in the Kentucky fight community told me that Brandon and this Matt Sullivan guy are buddies, or Sean Sullivan, excuse me. And so he requested a suspension. Sullivan implemented a suspension even with no legal standing. Now, where this screwed Jacob was, because Florida is an ABC regulated state, Florida had to uphold the suspension that Kentucky placed on Jacob, which wouldn't have allowed him to fight until September, right? Now, miraculously, when the new fight gets booked for Titan, they go, oh, you know what? We fucked up. We made a mistake. Sorry. Really? Did Jacob get his $500 back from Brandon and B2? Probably not. Can the commission fix this problem? No. Can they guarantee now that he's going to get that guarantee? He had a guaranteed contract waiting for him with a victory. That opportunity is now gone. He can go fight, for another small promotion like B2 and get a win, but that's not going to put him where he needed to be. So in this day and age, how is it possible for a commissioner and a promoter to completely bury a fighter like this? And this is a guy who gets in trouble. This is a guy who works hard. He's a top tier athlete, and he's been to the UFC. He's already been there. And now he's trying to work his way back up to a big show. But these guys decided, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call my buddy on the commission and have this kid suspended for violating 0 fucking rules. 0. Let me say that again. He violated 0 rules. He broke no laws. He violated nothing according to the state of Kentucky's rules and regulations for MMA and boxing, yet he was still suspended. And the proof of that is in the suspension when they had their meeting today and rescinded his suspension, they said, we fucked up. We made a mistake. Your mistake just cost this kid an opportunity, possibly for millions of dollars. So how is that supposed to be made up for? I hope there's an attorney out there. I know Jacob has his own attorneys, and he's represented by First Round. And I hope that Jacob and his attorneys pursue charges, pursue litigation against the Kentucky Commission and against B2 fights. And I hate to say this because I'm all about the fights. I'm all about the fight game. I love promoters. I love fighters. But when things like this happen, it shows you the bad side of this business. And the people at B2 got wounded. They got a little salt in their asshole. And, well, we had a former UFC fighter coming on here to, promote us. So since he ain't going to promote us, fuck him, he ain't going to fight anywhere else. You had him on a 1-fight deal. You didn't have him under a contract, okay? You didn't have him under a multi-fight deal. He's fighting one-off fights because he's trying to work his way back. So being smart about it, he signs 1-fight deals as he's trying to work his way back to the big shows. But they suspended him anyway because they were wounded, because they got their feelings hurt. This happens all the time. Fighters pull out all the time of fights, whether it's pro or amateur. And I don't condone fighters pulling out at the last minute. But in this situation, when a fighter has an opportunity to elevate their life and their career, they should be allowed to do it. They're not under a binding, promotional contract, where they can't do anything after 90 days or before 90 days. These are 1-fight contracts, dude. Boys and girls, 1-fight contract. And yet Jacob may have lost an opportunity, honestly, to make millions of dollars and to elevate his life to a place where, many people don't get that opportunity. Jacob's a worker. He's a grinder. He's a God-fearing man. He does interviews. You don't hear him cussing and popping. He's not getting into trouble. He's married. He does all the right things. He's, honestly, he's the kind of guy you want in MMA, but he got screwed. I'm furious for him. Furious for the sport. I'm upset for the guys at Titan because they really wanted this matchup and they had to move on. And now we don't know if Jacob is going to get another opportunity to fight for Titan at this point because they can't rebook him now. The fight was supposed to be this weekend. They can't book him in the title fight because that slot is taken. So what happens to Jacob? Who's going to reimburse him for the lost money, time for training, and everything else that went into this fight to change his life? And now he's sitting here holding the short end of the stick. He's got the small bag. He's got no bag because now he's not fighting at all. He's certainly not going to ever fight for B2 again because why would you when these guys screwed you? And Titan, I'm sure, will offer him an opportunity if another one comes up. But right now, this is a title fight. So now he's going to have to wait to maybe, the end of the year to try to get into the Titan cage. That's wrong. I really wish that some of you guys that are watching would comment on this, but that's okay if you don't. And this is a sore subject. Some people, wouldn't sit here and call out a promotion, but I'm calling them out. I'm calling out the Kentucky Athletic Commission. And tomorrow I will be on the phone with all these people, and I'll give them the opportunity to state their case. So I'm only giving you 1/3 of the story right now. But I do know, with God as my witness upstairs, I do know one thing to be for certain. Jacob Kilburn does not tell lies. He's too afraid of what will happen to him in the eyes of God to speak in non-truth. His life is based on his religion and his faith. He's an honest, God-fearing man. So the story I got from Jacob is, I'm going to say, 99.9% truthful. Nobody's 100%, I guess. That's all I could say. But if there is somebody that's going to give me 100% the true story, whether it favors them or not, it would be Jacob Kilburn. I don't know how this is going to be remedied. Like I said, I'm pursuing litigation against these guys because they really fucked them. If I'm him, if I'm in his shoes, I'm going to sue all the people involved that screwed me because they did it unjustly. They had no legal ground to stand on. This was just a promoter who got pissy, and he reached out to his friend on the commission and said, "Hey, can you help me out here? This guy screwed me out of a fight, so I want to bury him." That's my thoughts on how the conversation went. These guys are buddies, and it shouldn't happen. Like I said, I'm friends with commissioners. I'm friends with people in Florida. Dean Toole is a promoter here in Florida, and he does a lot of stuff. Dean Toole is friendly with the commission. John Prisco, when he ran the XFC, was friendly with the commissioners. But I've never seen Dean. I never saw John. Mitchell Shamali from Combat Night, another man I've worked with for years over the years. I've never seen these guys, ask for favor from the commission because, they're friendly with each other. Business is business, friendship is friendship, and that's personal, and that should stay out of it. But in Kentucky, apparently, it's okay, if you're good friends with somebody on the commission to get your way. And I'm not saying that this probably doesn't happen in other states and jurisdictions. I just know the promoters I've worked with here in Florida don't get any favor from the commission because they're friendly with them, because they said, "Hey, how's your family?" Or, "Hey, this and that." I also, our executive director, Patrick Cunningham, isn't going out and hanging out with promoters outside of the workplace. In other words, when the fights are over, and there's an after party, you don't see Patrick and the commissioners hanging out with the promoter, drinking and partying. It's a bad look. Patrick gathers up his crew and they leave. That's the way it's supposed to be. I can wish Patrick Cunningham a happy birthday. And if I'm a promoter, he's going to be appreciative of that. I might reach to him on his personal social media page. "Hey, man, just want to tell you happy birthday, brother. Congratulations on another revolution around the sun," if you will. But I'm not going to expect that to curry me any favor, if a fighter, bailed on me, 4 days, 5 days, 3 weeks before a fight. I'm not going to go call him and go, "Hey, listen, do me a favor, bro, and suspend this guy." There's no rule to say that he can be suspended. So if there's no rule to say that you can be suspended, are you following along? There's no rule on the books in Kentucky, right? But Jacob was suspended anyway, and then today they admitted that that was wrong. So, but at the end, who gets fucked? Jacob Kilburn. Who got screwed? Titan Fighting. It's not right. It shouldn't happen. And now I have to dig into this even deeper. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to get statements from everybody involved if they're willing to speak to me. But chances are they're not going to talk to me. And I'm sure Brandon's going to see this video because, I tagged B2 Fights and he's going to have, his own thing to say. And we'll probably get into some social media war and he'll unfriend me on social media. And I don't give a shit. When an injustice is done to an athlete that puts his ass on the line every single day, I'm going to stand up and defend that all the time. All the damn time. Athletes in every sport have the right to be defended, and athletes in every sport have the right to, do things. Now, when you sign a contract, for either in fighting for a certain number of fights or, a 2-year deal where, you're under, promotional, you're under a promotional contract with the promoter for 2 years. Well, then, if you violate that contract and it's a multi-fight contract okay, I understand that things can happen to you if you break that contract. However, when you're talking regional MMA, this happens every day. Fighters get the call to bigger shows. Most promoters these days let that fighter go because they understand that, hey, if this kid goes from my show, let's say it's B2. So one of these kids goes from B2 to the UFC or a PFL or Bellator. Guess what? It makes that promotion look better. So why would you want to stop that? Wouldn't you want people to know that, hey, Jacob Kilburn is a former B2 fighter and now he's fighting in the UFC, or now he's fighting at Bellator, or now he's fighting in the PFL, or now he's fighting at ONE. That's free marketing. That's free branding. And then other fighters see that and they go, you know what? This guy down here at B2 is doing a good job, man, getting good matchups and elevating fighters. People are going to say what I'm about to say now is biased because I work with this guy. But let me tell you something. Dean Toole elevates his fighters. He's never held a fighter back from going to another promotion that was a bigger show. Dean, a lot of people call Dean the gateway to the big shows. Dean matchmakes, his fights for the fights for Icon Fighting. He's doing matchmaking for Gamebred Fighting Championship. And of course, he matches his fights for Island Fights Pros, and he also works with Devin Adams, who's the matchmaker for Island Fights Amateur, and they work together they put together fights. Dean also gets fights for guys that aren't fighting for his show and elevates their careers and gets them to the big show. It's what he does because he understands what this is all about. He's never once held anybody back, and he's helped fighters from other promotions move to the big show. Or to the bigger shows, should I say, not just the UFC, other promotions that are big, well-known worldwide, and that's the way it should be. I'm completely, because Dean understands that the more fighters he can elevate, the better it looks for him and every show that he's involved with, It makes the fighters out there hear this, they see this, they talk amongst themselves, they see in the community, go, shit, Dean Toole can fucking get this guy to the UFC. Well, fuck, I want to go to the UFC. I'm going to reach out to Dean Toole, and, with the multiple promotions that he works with, I'm hoping he's going to get me a fight with one of these shows. Maybe I'll get a couple fights in here and a fight in there, and maybe I'll get my opportunity because Dean has a reputation of putting fighters in the big shows. So why would you want to shut that down? It doesn't make any sense to me. But to go back, the thing that really pisses me off is that seems like an old boys network thing where the commission and the promotion, because the promotion, does all their shows in Kentucky, so the commission wants to make sure that the promoter's happy. So they took the request from Brandon and said, okay, we'll suspend this guy. Waited for him to lose his opportunity, waited to make sure the opportunity was lost, and then said, okay, we fucked up. we'll unsuspend you now. It doesn't make any sense, and it pisses me off because all I see here is conflict of interest, and that shit can't happen. It can't go on like that. It shouldn't happen. I'm furious. My heart hurts for Jacob. I don't even know what to do for the kid. And I was gonna have him come on today and talk about it, but I don't want to actually have him come on today. I'm probably gonna have him come on, later in the week or next week, because I wanted this to be without his say in it right now. He's emotional, he's upset, and I want to give him time to, regain his composure because he's pissed. He's sad, he's hurt, and again, he's angry. And now I know Jacob's probably sitting at his house right now, praying on this and asking God how to move forward and do this the right way. Because Jacob probably will never come out and, tell these guys to go fuck themselves. Although he should. Now his attorneys, I'm sure, will tell him to go fuck themselves. But, we'll see how this all shakes out. And I am hoping that Jacob and his team pursue litigation because this is a complete injustice. And they've got a case. Jacob has a legitimate case. And the Kentucky Commission should be worried. B2 should be worried because I believe that if Jacob pursues this, they're going to have to pay. Now, what will they have to pay? I don't know. Future earnings, Jacob lost an opportunity, again, could be making millions of dollars. So did he lose? Did he lose the opportunity forever to step up to this next promotion? I don't know. That's all going to have to come out as time, develops. As this is a continuing story, it's developing every minute, every second. But I will say this: the opportunity he had in front of him, I know, was a guarantee. And all you had to do was go out there and win this fight at Titan. Now that fight is taken away, and we have to sit back and wait to see what's going to happen for Jacob Kilburn and the future of his career. Sure, that he's going to try to get a fight booked somewhere as quickly as possible. And, I'm going to guess that Dean Toole is probably going to step in and try to help him. Jacob's an Island Fights veteran, got to the Contender Series. Dean helped him get there. Dean, was able to help him get to the UFC. Dean looks out for these guys, guys like him and Brock Weaver, Brock Weaver just got the call to PFL. Brock Weaver just got a 2-year deal with PFL. He'll be in the $1 million tournament next year. This after being, released from the UFC. So there's no downtime. If you have the talent and the ability to fight, Dean will get you to that next level. That's what he does. And I'll tell you right now, working with Dean all these years, I've done 30 Island Fight shows with him. I've done I've done some Icon fights with him. I did Game Bird fighting with him, Little Roy Jones Jr. boxing. The one thing I've noticed is all the other stuff that Dean does, promoting and this and that. The thing that makes him happy is helping others elevate their careers, helping them get to the next level. And it's granted, there's a benefit in it for him and the promotions he works for. There's a benefit for the fighters to come fight, under something where Dean can get you booked. I'm hoping that Dean is going to be able to work some magic and salvage this whole opportunity for Jacob. But we don't know. We don't know. So for Jacob Kilburn, man, I love you, brother. I'm sorry that you're going through this. And I wish that you weren't. If you were doing things wrong and everything and you got, screwed around and everything, sometimes that's karma coming to bite you in the ass, but you don't have that negative karma. You're nothing but positive. So for a guy like Jacob to get screwed over on an opportunity, it upsets me. And just so you know, I do know Jacob personally. Obviously, I've announced his fights at Island Fights, and I've watched his career develop. But if this happened to a fighter that I didn't know, a few years ago, it happened to a fighter under the Sucker Punch Entertainment, Brian Butler's management team. A guy got the call from the UFC, and some asshole promoter, King of the Cage, wouldn't release the guy. Didn't give a fuck. I got a contract. I'm not doing it. And fuck this guy. A few years back, another promotion down in South Florida did the same thing to a fighter, and fuck the guy. That promotion is no more. And fighters talk. They're not going to want to fight for a promoter that isn't going to allow them to elevate when the opportunity comes. So, with that being said, if you're a promoter out there, man, don't fuck these guys. Let them go. It's good for everybody involved. The fighter gets to elevate their career. You get to claim him and say, hey, he fought here and we sent him to the UFC. He developed here with us. It's good branding. It's free marketing. It's the best marketing you could ask for. How do people know that you have good fights? Well, you sent 7 guys to the UFC. That's how they know. So do you want to be that local yokel that buries a guy, or do you want to be that local fight promotion that is known as a launching pad for fighters to elevate to the bigger shows, the worldwide shows rather than the regional level? Me, knowing that as a small time promoter, I'm never going to compete with the UFC. However, if I can work my shows and elevate my company and my brand by putting on great fights and elevating fighters that I've developed over the years to the UFC, that just looks good for me and my company. I'm going to do that every day. Case in point, there's a young kid fighting this weekend for XFC, Austin Bashi. He's taking on James Dunn. This is going to be a hell of a fight. But Austin Bashi is 3-0 as a pro. He's been developed under the XFC exclusively at this point. And, if this kid continues on this path, he'll probably get a Contender Series fight next year, because he'll probably be like 5-0 or 6-0 by that time. If he wins, I shouldn't say that, but let's say he does. Let's say he wins this next fight. He goes 4-0, gets a couple more fights, sometime, by this time next year, he might be 6 or 7-0. He's going to get a Contender Series fight. And if he wins that, he's going to get a UFC contract. He's young, he's talented. And here's the thing. While Myron Malotki would like to keep this kid forever, Myron Malotki of XFC knows that he's not going to be able to keep this kid forever. So instead of trying to figure out a way to hold him down and keep him back, Myron's thinking of ways right now to promote him hard and put him out there in the best opportunities. The kid's going to be fighting on FS2. Eyes are going to be on him. As a promoter, do you want to see somebody you develop, go somewhere else and be a star? Well, on a personal level, probably not. But on a business level, you absolutely do. You want to see this kid fight for you 5 or 6 times and then get that call, because it tells everybody that your show is legit. Your show is solid. Your show is producing talent all the time and elevating them to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Good idea for us. So I'm going to pup this one for my man Jacob. By the way, shout out to my friends at Liquid Death. I'm trying to get them to sponsor me by talking about them on my show. This is honestly, no joke. Even if they never sponsor me, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's the best water I've ever drank. I am smoking a compilation of 4 different strains right now. None of them less than 22.5%. Some hybrids, some indicas, and a sativa mixed in there. We like to just, make a hodgepodge, if you will, for us. So, but yeah, so if you like water, Liquid Death, murder your thirst. Like I said, maybe they'll come out and sponsor me. Who knows? Maybe they'll just, sponsor me by providing water to people. I don't know, man. But anyway, so I've been babbling for a while. I probably repeated myself a couple of times, but I'm very upset. It's bad. It's a bad look for the whole MMA community when things like this happen. So this doesn't just affect Jacob. It doesn't just affect Kentucky. It makes the whole community look bad that things like this are still allowed to happen. Because if you just, like I said, read between the lines, man. Promoter got pissed because the guy got a better opportunity. Promoter called the commission. Commission said, well, okay, we'll suspend him because you asked us to. And even though we have no legal, basis to suspend him, we like you, so we're going to do it anyway. That's what happened. That's, like I said, if some fighters told me this story, I might take it with a grain of salt. But when it comes to Jacob, everything he comes out of his mouth, I take as truthful because I know how serious he is about his faith and his religion, and being honest and open about everything. Even in the letter he wrote to them, where I told he said, he goes, I did everything I was supposed to do. I just got a message from Jacob, by the way, live as we're sitting here right now, and he's not even getting the $500 back from B2, even though he replaced, he found a replacement and everything, and they fucked him. Bad enough the commission and B2 fucked him. Now the kid's still at $500 with no paycheck coming in, mind you. It's just bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. So, if Brandon, if you're watching, you want to respond to this, anybody from B2, if you're watching, I tagged you guys in the post, so I'm not trying to be all sneaky. Anybody from B2 wants to respond to this. Anybody from the Kentucky Commission, feel free to respond to this. Come on, I'll give you the opportunity to join me right here on the air, and we'll discuss it all. So that's it. Guys, if you're friends with Jacob on Facebook, send him a message of encouragement and hope. Tell him you're still in his corner, man. I think he just needs to feel some love today, because right now I'm sure he's not feeling any. But, in about 4 hours, he's going to be just fine, because he believes in his faith so strongly that he believes God will find a way to help him provide for his family. It couldn't have been at a worse time. Like I said, he was in a car accident. His car got totaled. So he's been hitting a lot of speed bumps, and this one really hurts. It may have just changed the trajectory of his career and his life, in so many ways. It's wrong. It's just wrong. So that's it. I am going to be putting together an interview with my man, Phil, the Fresh Prince Row. I'm going to go over and record the interview from his Bump Box store in Orlando, Florida. It is in the Florida Mall. Bump Box Orlando is the first Bump Box store on the East Coast of the United States. Even though we're kind of in Central Florida, we're not on the coast technically, but it's the eastern seaboard of the United States, eastern coast states. So, and they're killing it out there at the mall. He just opened his business. He just got his first Octagon win. We're going to go over there and we're going to see him in his comfort zone, his store. And we'll give you guys a little tour of the store, and we're going to talk to him about getting that first big win. So I'll be doing that either tomorrow or Thursday. And that's it for today. Boys and girls, I love you guys, man. I appreciate the support. Thank you always for allowing me to be a part of your lives today, and for allowing me to be a part of yours, or for you guys being a part of mine and allowing me to be a part of yours for a little while, man. It means the world to me. It really does. But that's it. We got to get on out of here. So until next time, boys and girls, I am Christopher James. Oh, by the way, what do you guys think of the new studio look back here? We got some videos holding here from XFC, from Island Fights. Over here, you can see a little clip of me and Masvidal at Gamebred Fighting. If you look right over here, there's my boy Phil Rowe hanging out with Megan O'Leary. Over here, let me go down the corner. I don't know how good you guys can hear me when I do this, but you see me? Oh, there it is right there. That's me announcing Mahmoud Sabia. And there's one more that you guys see. I got to move my chair, though. That's me, Mike Perry, and Mike Davis. Or Mike Perry and Mike Davis. When Mike Davis made his debut down in South Florida, I spruced it up a little bit. This is going to be the new look here for my studio scene for a while. I hope you guys like it. I like it. But anyway, boys and girls, that's it for today. We'll catch up again this week when I sit down with Phil Rowe one-on-one. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. And until next time, I am Christopher James. Y'all have been Cage Side. We will see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. Bye.
What happens if you lose, Nick?
Who the hell is Aquaman?
I get Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, I get sausage biscuits. Maybe you guys will see a little footage of that later on, because we got some good stuff.
Go with the deuces. There you go, baby.